those steps. Be on your way. Take those steps. When you have a dream, you gotta start. It's the only way. If you're gonna shine, and you're gonna shine, shine, shine. You're gonna shine. And welcome to the Ranch 2026 version. This is our second episode in 2026, and this is actually episode 82. I gotta start figuring what I'm gonna do when I get to 100. And we are brought to you by Blast Music 24/7. And I gotta tell you, Blast Music is going places. For all indie artists, we now have our own magazine. We have a radio station with curated radio. So we pay our artists, we take care of our artists. So indie artists is where you want to be. You want new music, you've got to check out Blast Music 24/7. We really have grown this year. So we're ready to launch a whole, I shouldn't even say anything because we didn't launch our new site yet, but look out for it. It's going to be great. All right. And we are brought to you by Hotel Universe, because video is everything in this business. You got to have something visual, and you tell them Randy sent you and they'll give you a good deal. To the max advertising. Again, you need logos. You need to be branded. We don't compete with each other, but we need to be competitive with each other, right? All right. And then we have our radio stations, our affiliates that are listening. The Plow Zone out in California. I love you guys for listening. We have all our streaming platforms. Love you checking the ranch out. Thanks for tuning in. And then we have My Indie Radio out in Paris. And next week's guest is going to be coming from Paris. So she's going to be up late. It's going to be great. All right. So this week, we actually are bringing somebody back. Because every now and then, technology is not my friend. And some of these artists, there was an echo, and it was just the craziest scenario ever. So we had to bring her back. Billy, I don't know. Howdy. Howdy, Billy, my favorite. How are ya in 2026? Hope it's off to a good start. And you guys remember Taylor Barton Smith. It was probably one of the most trying episodes I ever had. You were so good about it. The echo started with you, then you gave it to me, and it was just kind of this wonky thing. So we had to have you back. We had to hear your new song, and we have to catch up for real about what's going on.
Well, thank you so much, Randy, for having me back. And I'm even happier to be back because we've got a new single out just on Friday. And it was really nice just chatting with you before the show started, just to get to know you a little more. And it is exactly a year later. I remember it was in January of last year, I think, that I was on, or February. So yeah, we were talking about a then EP called Get Off My Ship, and I'm launching a new EP called The Cardinal in April. And tonight we're going to premiere the video with you, Jack, the first single.
Oh, it's very exciting. Very exciting. So now you have had quite a career, and you've had some special roommates and things like that. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, I have been incredibly lucky because in 1986 or 7, I met G.E. Smith. I was working on SNL, and I was doing everything there I did a lot of episodes, so I was able to see the musician du jour, every cool act that was coming out of whether it was LA or Europe or wherever. Every single week I got, front center to the best of the best artists, which was really, it just really influenced me. And then GE went on the road with Bob Dylan. So I was backstage and learned so much from Bob Dylan, just watching him perform night after night. And I loved the way he did songs differently every single night, maybe sometimes in different keys, I loved that he was all about being uh, married to his muse and not to what later became, I guess, in the 2000s when everybody was addicted to fame instead of making good music. Um, Bob was a real troubadour and taught me to protect your craft and protect your art. So that was a really
Oh,
unbelievable experience. And since Bob Weir just died,
wait,
so
didn't he have terrible stage fright, Bob Dylan, at some point?
I think he did, but that was before I knew him, maybe. But
Okay.
no, not that I never saw him have stage fright. No, he just didn't like the people assigning, all kinds of labels to him. He just wanted to be pure. At least that's my opinion.
Okay.
Um, but and because of that and being sort of front and center in the pinnacle of rock and roll for some period of years, I was reflecting back because Bob Weir passed this weekend, and I
Right, right.
loved Grateful Dead, but I spent some time with Bob Weir in early 2000s. I guess we were out in Mill Valley, and he was such a gentleman. And I really felt sad when that he's gone, but he has left a huge legacy. And I've been around who's who in the music business. So carving my way as my own artist and, not necessarily winning Grammys or having hit songs. I've been slow and steady. It's been a slow burn, but I've been at it for 40 years. I'm so proud that I still am making music and that I get to be on anybody's show. It's always an honor, and it's always a special gift to play for people.
Hmm.
I just I'm all about who can I touch tonight? What's going to resonate for them? And that makes my day, when people really hear the lyrics or something, checks a box or it poses a question for them to think about. So,
And I think that's what Bob Dylan and all the greats really exemplify is how it's about the music and it's about the fans resonating with the music. You
yeah,
know, all the other stuff is really extraneous and distracting.
it is
And
for me. I mean, I'm a avid fan of all singer-songwriters. I love the genre. I love all kinds of music, but I just was really hooked on it as a young teenager. To me, it was religion. I solved a lot of my own problems listening to other people, sing about their problems. Like, I listened to Joni Mitchell, Neil Young, probably the Dead, and I stacked up the records at night and would fall asleep listening. Ladies in the Canyon, Harvest Moon, and then I'd be asleep with Grateful Dead piping in who knows what. So I loved it.
I know. I put my records on too, and then my mom would yell at me, "You turn it down."
Yeah.
And I turn it down, and then there's a way that you can loop it, like it'll continuously play
Yes.
as you go to sleep. Some of the albums, the good
Yeah.
old days.
So,
So and you have that kind of experience. So when you relate to something, you hear a story about an injustice, you write a song about it.
yep. That was the first video you're going to play. I read this article 2 years ago. I'm in South Florida about a Lyft driver who who picked up this passenger and he went missing. And so the story was continually every day, where is this man? And eventually they found the car, and then eventually they found his body, and then eventually they found the passenger. So I took some liberties and wrote the song from the narrative of his loved ones that were left behind. And, what I really embraced was this was a man who was a senior who was just doing his job. He was going out to work. See you later, sweetheart. I'll be back. But I'm just gonna go do my job and be a Lyft driver. And I was just really touched by it. It just was, and I'm also constantly just shake my head at the senseless violence that's going on in the world.
So he was the Lyft driver. He picked up somebody that actually wound up killing him.
Correct.
Yeah, that's so terrifying because, the days of hitchhiking are over, thank God. And now we have Lyft and Uber and all this stuff, and it's almost just as frightening.
It's frightening, and it's frightening from both sides too, because you've heard stories about passengers having issues, but this was, like you hear cab drivers and people try to rob them, and I think this was a robbery gone bad. I didn't really, I more zeroed in on the loss, and that this man was just going out an ordinary day. So yeah, and it's called Jack. And I did contact the papers that wrote the story. And I was like, oh, I'd really like, if you could find the woman, the girlfriend that was left behind, just to give her this song so that something to comfort her.
Oh, did you hear from her?
Not yet. I just sent the press release to the papers recently, so.
Oh God, we have to listen to this. The full lyric of Jack. And I think for the first show that you're interviewing on to show it. So I'm proud of that.
Yes, it's a debut on
right here
on the ranch.
Jack was last seen driving down a county bend. They called his boss, they tracked the car, no one would respond. Tracked the last signal just outside a farm. Jack, a senior, a stand-up guy of steel. He was gone and his family feared. Law pursued every lead, they found the car way north. Con man named Flores, charged in doing court. Last thing I heard, I'm your Romeo. We'll go dancing under the moon. Oh, last thing I heard, I'm your Romeo. We'll go dancing under the moon floor. Flores was a wanted man out on the run. Flagged Jack down, then flashed a gun. Looked straight ahead, just need a ride. Jack fought back, somewhere later died. Last thing I heard, I'm your Romeo. We'll go dancing under the moon. Oh, last thing I heard, I'm your Romeo. We'll go dancing under the moon flow. We laid our Jack in his grave with tears and tears of rage. Sick and suffering Flores was put back in his cage. All the time I ask myself, why? Mantra that never ends, never to subside. I miss Jack, day after day. Here I stand with flowers at his grave. I miss my Jack, day after day. Here I stand with flowers at his grave. Here I stand with flowers flowers at his grave.
And we are back on the ranch. We are brought to you by Blast Music 24/7, your one stop for all indie artists. Whether you're an artist or you want new music, you should be on Blast Music 24/7. And we are on all streaming devices: Pandora, Apple Podcast Paradise, YouTube Music, Podcast Index, Listen Notes, Stitcher. We're every place you want to be. So take the ranch with you. It's good for car rides, everything like that. And you want a good story? We're here with Taylor. Now, we've got some people watching. So thank you for tuning in, everyone. And this is live and interactive, so I can see your comments. For some reason, they're coming up late, but that's okay. We'll go back to Billy because he's a deadhead. And Billy, of course you're a deadhead. I had no doubt about it. So yeah, it's a sad week for fans. But we're here with Taylor, and you are a storyteller in your own right.
Yeah, I like to write stories without a doubt. I'm also a writer. I am a singer-songwriter, but I've written some novels and plays. But I do take a song and do a beginning, middle, and end, and like to come from the narrative. But you have a choice of being an emotional writer or a subconscious writer, like Taylor Swift writes her stream of consciousness. And yeah, I like to write a tapestry, like, really tell a story. And I think I probably was influenced by Bob on that for sure. But I mean, I do
Hear
like
that?
to
I can hear
tell
that.
the story. I mean, sometimes, there's an emotion that you want to express and you do it. Without a doubt, I write songs like that, but this one was definitely, a ballad.
Right, right. And you could hear Bob Dylan, the folk undertones,
Yeah.
for
Yep.
that narrative.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. So what books have you written?
Well, I've written 4 books over a long period of time. I wrote a book called Hot-Headed Saints, which came out in 2006, and it's a story about a murder suicide that takes place in the Hamptons, and um, the it's told through the eyes of a woman firefighter who comes to the scene and ends up with the left children. So that's one book. I wrote a book called Pedro and Pip, a rock and roll odyssey for eco kids. It was all about a rock and roll octopus who was washed out by an oil spill, and a little girl comes along scuba diving and meets them, and her father happens to work for an oil company that was responsible, and he gets her to go and clean up the ocean, and then there's a big concert, and there's 13 songs with that. And that came out, and that was bought by Discovery. And I wrote a curriculum for a 2-week sustainability class for kids in the middle school. So that was a big project. And I also did
I
that.
heard of that, actually. Because
Yeah.
I worked in the middle school, for a million years, and I've heard of it.
Yeah. And I had originally, when I first did it, I did it as a play in New York City as a musical, and it got optioned by Disney, but it didn't get done. So it was, I worked on it for a long time. I put it away, and 20 years later I revisited it and reinvented it for kids in school. And so, because I'm an environmentalist. And then I wrote a book called Condom Eddie, which came out last year, and it is a dark trip through a 2 children that are given up when they're born. One is given up for adoption. The other one stays with the mother, who is a drug addict, and it's like nurture versus nature. And
Yep, yep.
the one eventually does a DNA test and finds out that she's got this brother, and they come together and they are the only two that can change each other's course of life. So that was really intense book. And then the other book I wrote is a music memoir called I Pitched a Tent in Hell. And it is sort of it's not a like straight timeline of my songs. It's more this song came about because of this situation, but it does sort of take an arc through my life. And it's on Audible, so you can hear, I narrated it. You can hear me, I write little vignettes, and then the song follows, and so those are the four. And I did a lot of plays when I was younger in the city. One was called the Eric Clapton Breakfast Club, which we did as a one act. That was not a musical. That was hysterical. And yeah, I've done a lot of writing, a lot of songs,
Yeah.
a couple of films. I did a film on GE called,
It's interesting you do so many genres because, just because you can write like in a book doesn't mean you can write a screenplay, doesn't
yeah,
mean you know what I mean? That's
they're very different.
really, really some talent that you could switch gears like that. I'm impressed.
Well, thank you. It is different vernaculars, and for me, it's very hard to do the two things at once. Like I can't write a novel and be working on songwriting. It's working your brain in a different way, but
Yeah.
I come from a writing perspective. That's the center of everything. Like the best day for me is when I've just finished a song. I love like that full circle. You and I are here tonight. My videos here, the songs out. But truly, I am like, when I finish a song, I'm like, oh, this is so good. I just feel good. It makes me feel so connected.
I always wanted to do that. Because I am like you. I tell stories and I try to give it upbeat and stuff. And I shared one of my stories with you before, and I always wanted to line them up because they really do tell my story,
Yeah.
I try to make them, everyone can twist them into whatever they want. And,
but we do all have a story. We all have a story. And as some people think, oh, I don't have anything to say. Well, I took a course one time with a writer, and he got in 7 weeks 30 pages out of each one of us, and everybody's story was so amazing. So amazing. And they didn't think of themselves necessarily as artists or actors or writers. And I was just like, wow, and the most unique people have the most interesting, compelling stories. You don't have to be like some big, huge, presence. You can be very a quiet force without. So, yeah.
And I actually had just finished an online songwriting course for people who don't want to be superstars or have delusions of grandeur, but maybe want to take some of their ideas of something that happened to them and maybe try to make it into a song or something like that. So that's where my course is coming up for the non-songwriter, how do you take your idea, and now add some beats to it, make a little melody out of it and stuff. So I had a lot of fun with that. So I'm getting ready I did a soft launch and I'm getting ready to do a hard launch maybe in February.
Excellent. I did a writing course this summer. I thought I was writing an article for something completely different. And within 2 weeks, I was like, this isn't working. So I ended up writing a song, but everybody else was a writer. So they were fascinated with this way that, I first wrote the lyrics and then I came back with, banging some melody. Here it is. And then by this, 6th week, I was like, here's the song. And then they were all really good poets. So they're like, you might want to think that rhyme through, they added, and it was like when you had 6 people on it, it was brilliant. When there's more, that it's better.
That's exciting. Collaboration is a whole different animal. People who can collaborate well embrace the edit. You know,
Yes.
some people, they bleed and they're like, "This is my song," and you tell them
Yeah.
that line isn't very clear, and they're like, "What do you mean?" Like,
Yeah.
and if you could
Well,
just clean it up a little bit, it would
yeah.
really
Try not to get
feel
too
right home.
attached.
Yeah, you can't. You can't,
Yeah.
because you're the only one attached and it's not resonating. You got to think
Yeah.
of your fans, and those are the people who you can really collaborate with and, you know, um, take it to the next level with things.
Yeah. No, I mean, when you put two or more on it, it's just bigger, it's better. I mean, you can write beautiful things alone too, but um early in my career, I did all these workshops at ASCAP up in
Mhm.
in in New York, and they were constantly trying to get songwriters to work with other songwriters because they knew it was going to be better. And in the early 90s, most uh, the songwriters were writing for the singers. The singers were coming to the songwriters for good material, but then the singers decided they're songwriters, and the majestic or magical part of a song kind of dropped to a neutral point because the singers weren't necessarily good songwriters, and the songwriters had to become singers to get their work out. And that wasn't so great either because they weren't like Beyonce, or they weren't like so it kind of like, wiped everybody out. But I think in Nashville for sure, they're still working go to the songwriter and get a good song. You're a
Mm.
singer, you know.
Well, it's really interesting because they find artists, right? And today, there's no such thing as a demo. You have to have a polish. You have to have a following. You're writing
Right,
songs. But then after that, they're going to songwriters. Like even Adele, like how many of her songs is she totally written on her own? It- you
right.
know, they're starting to find songwriters, which is really exciting for, indie artists.
Well, yeah, I mean, it was its own industry for so long. It really was. So, but it whoever, now they're doing. I was watching a thing on Netflix called Ripple. And one of the characters is she's got writer's block. She's a songwriter. She was a really good musician, and a traumatic event happened. And then this record exec is a character, and she comes in and she hears her playing in the park. She wants to sign her, and that kind of thing that was the bliss of the day. But how many times does that happen anymore? They don't find them in the alley. They don't find, they don't go to the clubs. Like you said, they're looking for the following. So they're missing out on such amazing talent that is out there.
Oh, I totally, totally agree. I totally agree. I mean, go down New York or LA. What am I thinking of in LA? The beach.
Oh, Venice,
Next to Venice. Oh my God,
Santa
Malibu.
Monica.
Santa Monica. Holy cow. Santa Monica Pier. Duh.
Yeah.
Okay. You go down there and the buskers are so impressive.
Yep.
New York, the subways, the buskers are so impressive. I mean, you could find talent anywhere. Open mics, hit or miss, but every now and then you have your standouts,
Yep.
people that are really impressive.
Even on
So,
TikTok, when they put up something, before they even have a following, even when they start and somebody is just so good, everybody's like, "Whoa, who was that?" Or "What was that?" I think that there was the guy who came out before the election, and he just wrote a protest song. He was from West Virginia or something. He's in his backyard, and he sing this amazing protest song, and he blew up overnight. He had never done a gig outside ever. So,
wow.
I mean, that's the younger generation. I've got a 23-year-old, and believe me, everything is TikTok, Substack, this one, that. I'm like, I can't keep it straight. And 14 hours a day. looking at
Oh, I know.
the phone.
But I've been seeing more and more fake news, fake stuff coming out of AI generated nonsense
Yeah.
coming out of TikTok.
Yeah, well, AI can make a good singer-songwriter. I'm
I'm
sure.
actually, March 30th, I think it is. I'm actually doing a show on AI.
Oh,
They're gonna take
cool.
they're gonna take one of my songs that I wasn't happy with the lyrics, and they're gonna actually make AI lyrics. I'm actually terrified. I'm bringing my
Oh my,
producer on the show. It's gonna be a hoot. AI is blowing up, and to ignore it at your own peril.
exactly. Well, my daughter is at Trinity College majoring in digital humanities in AI. And she, like the podcaster Krista Tippett, does a podcast called On Being. And, AI can be used all sorts of ways, good, bad, indifferent, but she could, take a divine plan and code it and influence people. And I mean, it blows my mind, like what she is learning. I'm like, what? Like,
Yeah.
wow. And yeah, we're
Well,
really in
this
for
is
a
almost a
new.
good segue for your next video
Okay.
because Crown of Thorns
Yes.
actually has some really interesting graphics.
Yes.
Was
Yes.
that AI?
My dear friend, singer-songwriter Joseph Arthur collaborated on this with me. And so I kind of gave him the idea, but he is a very fruitful artist and singer-songwriter, and he produced the EP Get Off My Ship. So he made the video.
Okay. Tell us about the song, Crown
The
of Thorns.
song was about anybody who is in a war zone and being isolated and being afraid and trying to hang on to something of hope, hope against hope. That's it. I'm
Mm,
speaking to every woman out there who is estranged from their family in every war zone.
right. All right. Let's listen to Crown of Thorns.
A shroud lays of mist and fog, confusion of a howling dog, isolated, so afraid, hanging on to the faith. I'm a beacon in the dark, I'm the
And we are back on the ranch. We are brought to you by Blast Music 24/7. Now, we have a lot of our radio affiliates, Plow Zone in California and My Indie Radio, and all the streaming podcasts. You guys don't get to see the videos that I'm playing. You get to hear the really awesome soundtracks. But that had a really cool graphic, a lot of line figures, and very colorful imagery that kind of go along with that. So you might want to check that out at some point. Very different, very unique way of illustrating the point of that.
Yeah, he did a beautiful job, and it's on YouTube, Crown of Thorns. But he did such a beautiful job, and he himself, Joseph Arthur, he wrote In the Sun and Honey in the Rock. He was discovered by Peter Gabriel, and he paints when he sings and plays. He's amazing, and so he's in museums and in venues. He's
That's
everywhere.
cool.
Yeah, he's very cool, and
We-
I love him, and he's fantastic.
There's a venue, Cafe Artiste. It's near Asbury Park. And what they do is they have all the songwriters, but they have an artist in residence who's painting and illustrating as the artists are performing, which I think is really cool. And
He should go there. I mean, he could be both.
yeah, he was doing it the same. That's amazing.
Yeah, no, he does. He plays a lot in the city at City Winery, and he always has a tapestry. And actually, City Winery has all of his paintings all over their walls, and he'll go to galleries in Europe and go in and do a gig, but paint while he's there, or do a show of his things. He's multi faceted, and he's a good guy. He's very, very, very steeped in wisdom.
Well, Billy thinks your song is really deep, and I agree. That was really, very moving.
Thank you.
Of Thorns. And I think we forget how tied music and art really are. Because you think of the old album covers,
Yes.
the limited, you would buy it just for the cover, like, oh, what's the music about? And you just love, the artwork that went with it.
It was always big part of the package. The lyrics, the art, who's going to do the album cover, who's going to take the picture. As you get older, it's like, I don't want a picture of myself, and I don't want to be in a video of myself. It isn't about that, because your brain and your mind is always youthful, but I admire everybody who sticks with it. Like, I think Emmylou Harris is out on the road right now, and when I was about 30, she was playing the Beacon in New York, and she was around 49. It was the Wrecking Ball record. I remember that. And she was warming up. We were backstage because maybe Dylan was playing after, but I thought to myself, oh, I want to be like her. I want to be singing when I'm old. And she was only 49. Well, now I think she's like 79. And I'm still like, oh my God, I'm going to have to like make it to still be singing at 79, and I hope I am.
It's funny, Cher, it's like, I don't want to be an old school rocker. And I remember her saying that.
Yeah.
And here she is, she's still on tour. Like, she's still an old school rocker. And I felt, well, like, why? I mean, I want to go out with a microphone in my hand.
Yeah. People want to die on the bandstand.
Oh, I know somebody who almost did. My friend, AK Cody, like literally had a heart attack on the stage.
Oh God.
He survived, but yeah. Mm.
Well, yeah, let's try to stay healthy and alive. I mean, so many people are going right now that made rock and roll. I mean, the pioneers are going out left and right. And that doesn't mean that there weren't people way before them, but the people who really made the difference in the late 50s, early 60s, even, Johnny Cash, peel it back farther, Chris Christopherson, Woody Guthrie, you know, these people changed the landscape and what we could say, and, you know, kept democracy and liberalism in the front and center, and free speech and protest songs, and it's a
It is dying, and I'm so
dying breed.
surprised. I thought Gen Z was going to be our counterculture. I thought they would find their voice. They're so
They're
angry at us, you
yeah.
know, the boomers and Gen Xers for ruining everything, and but we're the great protest songs. Get angry, like
Well, I
I don't
think people
know.
are starting to come back to them. I mean, I know they are in Europe for sure. I have a really good friend who's a singer-songwriter in Germany, and they were writing protest songs last year. And with Brian Eno, he did a songwriting course, and that was the exercise.
Cool.
But my daughter's a Gen Z, and they're angry at the world because they
Yeah,
feel unsafe, and
yeah.
they lived through COVID, and so they didn't have the normal milestones, the proms, the college uh events, the everything. They missed it, so they're socially uh dwarfed.
They are.
And
They're immature. Like they lost like 3 years of
they did
socialization,
they did
and they're
not get the socialization that they needed, and they didn't get to experiment in
no,
any way. So
no.
they're terrified.
They're the most anxious group. I agree. Gen Alpha is not much better, but Gen Z, the most anxious group, and I guess that's why they haven't quite found their voice yet.
No,
But
but I think they will. Like I
I
said, my
hope
daughter
so.
studied
I hope
digital
so.
humanities. I'm curious to see what she does, but they're definitely behind. I mean, none of them wanted to get their driver's licenses.
Yeah,
I could
yeah.
not wait.
Weird. Yeah, it was the weirdest thing. I because I was counseling in high school on help kids transition back, and the administration have high expectations of them just walking back in, and I tried to tell them it wasn't going to happen.
Yeah.
And these kids didn't want to drive. They didn't. They became pack animals though, which is they're very inclusive. They
Yep.
travel in packs. They
Yep. They do
interesting.
everything online. They have their parties online.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
mean, they literally get together online, and they drink wherever they are, and they party and they watch movies together, but they do not sit cross from each other and look each other in the eye. It's
yeah,
all like they'll text them and then look up, text and look up. They're really missing that connection,
yeah.
but it's
They are.
connected for them.
Yeah, it is. This is as close as they're going to get. So
Yeah.
it's going to be interesting. I know they're going to start AIing something. They're going to start AIing some protest songs really soon. Hopefully, we'll
Yep.
see that come out.
Look out.
Look out. It's kind of okay. This is kind of a segue. This is a terrible segue, but it's all I got. Get Off My Ship is kind of a protest song.
It's a total protest song.
It's totally a
Uh,
protest song. It's like, you heard of that ship has sailed. It's like, okay, that ship has sailed, but get off my ship. Like, I've
It
had enough.
is. I've had enough, and I'm just get off the, yeah. And even I wrote it before the election, I guess in 2020. And I grew up with only women. There were four girls in my family, no men telling us what to do. The patriarchal psychology was not a part of anything. I went to an all-girls school. So for me, when we were hearing some of these things about, regulating women's lives and their bodies and their periods and I was just like, what? So this song spoke to that. This song speaks to people who just push too hard, who are users, who are, blatantly crossing boundaries, and we can hear it. and you will get it.
Yep. All right. So again, there's some cool graphics here. I know there are online listeners aren't going to be able to hear it, but it's a really cool song. Let's listen to "Get Off My Ship."
The skies are turning, the waves are black, the stars are burning, the mass is cracked, the water's rising, I'm in too deep, a brewing slaughter surrounding me. Get off my ship, you're causing trouble. Get off my ship, I'm seeing double. Get off my ship, you're a traitor. Get off my ship, I'll see you later. I clear the decks, I see the harbor. I'm not shipwrecked, can travel farther. I'm boarding up, secure the hatch. I'll try my luck with a better catch. Get off my ship, you're causing trouble. Get off my ship, I'm seeing double. Get off my ship, don't need your favors. Get off my ship, I have a savior. Here comes the tsunami, I'll watch you run, you're a zombie. Here comes a rogue wave, it'll drag you to a dark grave. Get off my ship, you're causing trouble. Get off my ship, I'll see you double. Get off my ship, you're a traitor. Get off my ship, I'll see you later. Get off my ship, you're causing trouble. Get off my ship, I'm seeing double. Get off my ship, don't need your favors. Get off my ship, you're a failure. Get off my ship, I'll see you later. Get off my ship.
And we are back on the ranch. We are brought to you by Blast Music 24/7. Now, look, if you have any indie Americana artists out there listening and you want to be on the ranch, just go to my website, spelled my name right. It's an IE, Randy, IEONEIL.com/shows. Fill out the form, and you too could be on the show. And we have a Valentine's show coming up. If you have any love songs or anti-love songs, Taylor, get them to me.
I do. I'll send you one.
Get them to me because the first 2 weeks in February, we're going to do the love songs, then in the anti-love songs leading into Valentine's Day, because not everyone loves Valentine's Day.
Does it have to be a video or just a song?
It could be an MP4. You can embed
Okay.
it.
An MP4 of a
No,
song.
no. For the show, I'll take an MP3. It'll be an
Okay,
MP3.
MP3. Okay, I got one called Take Me. That's coming out too, actually on Valentine's Day.
Nice. Send it to me. Get it
Okay.
on the show. Is that a Valentine's song or an anti-Valentine?
It's a Valentine's song.
All right. Bring it on.
Okay. So
right now, I'm getting a lot of love songs. Last year, I got almost all anti-love songs, so it's interesting.
yeah, love is where it's at because the rest of it, I don't know.
Well, everyone's got a good breakup story, so
Well, that's true. It's breaking up. Yeah, I never was good at it. I'd like to know somebody who is.
Well, we have our people listening really are clapping at your last song. So
Oh,
we got
thank you.
getting some comments on social media. So that's cool. People like that one. So now you've been releasing singles. Where can people find your stuff?
Spotify, I'm on Apple Music, I'm on Amazon, YouTube, the traditional places. This is like my 13th project since 1995. So I started in Tower Records, and I guess the premier spot now is Spotify, or I don't even know what is uh, the most accessed music site, but I think it's Spotify. Um,
Well, people look at Spotify or YouTube, I think,
yeah, or
and
YouTube.
that's where we don't
Yeah, I
make
mean,
money from either of them. So
yeah, so it's Taylor Barton, Apple Music, and if you go there, you will see right under before Taylor Swift. We've got to give her a hand because she brought me back in front and center. Um, Even though I wish I had written some of her songs. But yeah, I've been around.
yeah, that's really cool. That's really cool. And you have some good videos to go with your material too. You don't play out much.
I haven't I played out a lot in the 90s, 2020. And then after COVID, I just like slowed down, and I want to play. I want to go on tour. I really want to go to Europe right now. That's my
Mm,
dream. I was just in Ireland, and I saw some of my favorite people like Beth Orton. I don't know if you know who she is. She's an English singer-songwriter. Steve Earle. These are I know Steve. I was like, oh, it would be fun to go do Ireland and then go do England and then drop down in Germany and Amsterdam. And I have another singer-songwriter friend, a girl named Heather Nova, who is really well known over there. So I'm kind of asking around people who tour over there, hey, can I go? Do you need an opening act?
mhm.
Or just go. I mean, you could probably just turn up and show up in places, but
That's
with
what I did
COVID,
actually in Ireland. I was just there for sightseeing, and I told people I would play, and they were like, "Oh, come on up on stage." And I wound up doing a couple sets in Ireland. It was
yeah, it's fun, right? Well, Dublin is
yeah.
fantastic. I mean, I just loved Dublin. But there's Cork, and so that's what I want to do. I want to get back out there. And COVID just stopped me in my tracks when it came to that. But I also did a lot of creativity. I made, the two EPs. I wrote Condom Eddie, the book. I produced GE's record, Stony Hill. I made a video for them. I made a bunch of videos, so it wasn't like I wasn't working, but I just wasn't in the bars playing. And that's always really fun, and I mean, there's nothing better than to sit in front of an audience and play your songs, but it's on my to-do list. I'm going back on the road.
All right, Taylor. So we're gonna find you hopefully on the road really soon. In the meantime, we're just gonna have to go to Spotify and all those other streaming platforms and
Yep,
find you.
yep. And I will send you my Valentine's song, and hopefully you will find it a great place to debut again because it is a Valentine song.
All right. I'll keep you I'll be looking forward to that in the next day or two. That
Okay.
put together. All right, everyone, thank you so much for tuning into The Ranch. We are here live every Monday where you can join us interactively. And the rest of the week, Wednesday, we are on the Plow Zone. Thursday, we're at My Indie Radio. And then all the streaming platforms, you can follow us all the time, even Roku TV. You can find us there too. So thank you again for tuning in, everyone, and listening up. Taylor, thank you so much for coming back and understanding the technical difficulties that we had last time and not being scared off the show.
It was my pleasure, and who knows, the magic was here tonight, so
It
that's all that
was.
matters.
It was a magical show. All right. Thanks, everyone. And I will catch you next week as we go to France on the ranch.
I'm on the road, don't know where it goes. I'm on a road, follow your heart, it won't let you down. Follow your heart, take the steps beyond